Greetings and hello, and welcome back. Tony Coleman-Brown here. And as a part of getting started with the software, what I want to talk to you guys about now is starting with a strategy. So let's get right into it. Because basically, starting with a strategy is a lot different than what you may see a lot of the other, high level software providers talking about or using. Because basically, what tends to happen is when it comes down to doing training videos, a lot of people just jump right into the steps without really talking about a strategy. But I personally believe that you need a strategy, you need to know the steps, and you need to have a plan. So, one of the things that you want to ask yourself or your client is, how do you currently make money in your business? Now, this is very interesting, and it's going to be interesting for people who are just starting a business because you may not really have an idea with regards to how you're going to make money. But what we're going to cover throughout our course and throughout being a part of the Network for Women in Business, whether you're a part of it or not, what we're going to talk about is really utilizing your knowledge, creating your first digital product or your course, or creating your coaching program, putting it together as a product, beginning to create your group and your members area, and beginning to service your ideal customers and clients. So if you don't really know where your income is coming from in your business, then one of the things that your strategy and your plan is going to really entail is how you're going to do that. So basically, if you've been in business for a long time, you pretty much know where most of your income comes from. So, like for someone like myself, I know that the bulk of my income comes from membership. So, the best thing that I can do with the software is relaunch membership. And that's exactly what I've done. And the other thing that I know is that I make a lot of money from my events, my small business bootcamp for women. So one of the things I'm going to do, that's the second thing, is pretty much, take my small business bootcamp for women and create the sales page, the landing page for the event, create the product so I can begin to generate registrations for that event. The other thing that I'm doing is I also have and was running my business on Kartra. So if you are running your business from another platform, whether it's Kartra or ClickFunnels or some other platform, maybe it's Kajabi because you're running a course. The good news is that this software really integrates well with Kajabi and you can easily migrate your course over to this platform. But if you're someone using Kartra like myself, you may have a lot of digital assets that you have to move over to the platform. And so one of the things that I would suggest is get started with the basics, right? Figure out what you need to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth, because there's always going to be a lot of different steps that you're going to have to take, a lot of different tasks that you're going to have to perform. But think about what the strategy is going to be because you must think about where it is that you're going to make money. If you're starting with an agency, if you're a social media marketing manager and you already have clients, maybe one of the first things that you want to do is migrate your clients over to the platform, give them their sub accounts, link up all of their social media, and you can begin to run your social media marketing agency through High Level or Optimize Pro, which is powered by Go High Level. But what you're going to essentially need to do is figure out what it is you're going to want to do first, right? As it relates to generating income, what are going to be the first things that you're going to move over to the platform, and how you're going to really get everything started, set up, tested, and working properly so that you can effectively run your business. But if you decided that you want to start your own agency, then it's going to be a whole nother ball of wax because you're going to have to start thinking about what type of agency you're going to want to run, what are the services that you're going to provide, and the whole nine. So it's going to be a lot, and it depends upon what the agency is or what the business is, whether it's a restaurant, a dental office, a real estate office, then their goals and their strategy is going to be different. So I really want you to start thinking about strategy, because that's going to be important as it relates to the next steps. The first steps are getting started is going to be the basics, right? And so there are basic steps that everybody needs to go through. But when it comes to really setting up the strategy and the long-term setup for your business, it's going to be different for everyone. The basics is going to be the same, but after the basic setup, it's going to be different. So as you can see, it depends upon what type of business that you have, what type of business you're currently running, or what type of business you want to run. You have to ask these questions and think about it first, and then devise a strategy. So my strategy is start with the basics and then create the plan and then execute on the plan. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So like I said before, our strategy is pretty simple. We're going to start with the basics, and then we're going to create a plan that's going to be specific for your business. Now, if you are not a part of my tribe and you're not a member of the Network for Women in Business, or you're not on my Go High Level account with my agency with OptimizePro or through my affiliate link, then basically you might want to set up an appointment time with me to coach you, to help you to create your business strategy. I do not have a problem with that. You can just reach out to me via my email, and I will definitely help you create your strategy for setting up your business using the Go High Level platform or the Optimize Pro platform. But our strategy is simple. Let's start with the basics, create the plan, and then let's execute on the plan. Okay? So now when it comes down to the basics of setting up your account, there are about 7 things that I think that you need to know. First, you need to know what the difference is between an agency and really having a sub account. Because even though you have like an agency side of your account, every agency needs a sub account to execute on everything. So, the agency is kind of the behind the scenes. So basically, if you were an agency and you had like SaaS, it's really kind of the behind the scenes information. It's the information about your business. It's the information that you're going to need to really, if you're going to set up SaaS, how are you going to set it up and all of that stuff. If you're running an agency, that's very different, but every agency needs a sub account, because the sub account is where you really run the business. That's where you create the products, create the website. That's where you builds out all of your workflows. That's where you really operate your business. So, from the agency side, that's more administrative. From the sub account side, that's the operations. That's the meat and potatoes of this system. So after, a sub account is created, or in order to get that sub account created, we're going to need your first and last name. We're going to need your email address. We're going to need your physical address, your phone number. We could use a friendly business name. So say, for instance, you may have a legal name, an LLC, that really encompasses, your business, but you may be running multiple friendly business names. Like, I have my Network for Women in Business, and then I have my Small Business Bootcamp for Women, which really and truly are, like fun, things, but they're really separate, right? So even though I have the Small Business Bootcamp for Women, I wouldn't really set up a sub account for that particular business. But if I did, it wouldn't hurt. And basically, all the sales and everything would be run through that particular sub account. The friendly business name would be the Small Business Bootcamp for Women. But the legal business name would be the Network for Women in Business, because that's really where I have my business set up. That's where I have my EIN number set up and all of that stuff. So at the end of the day, the Network for Women in Business is the business name, and then the Small Business Bootcamp for Women would be the friendly business name. So you can use that, but you're going to need your EIN number, you're going to need your legal business name, you're going to need your website, you're going to need your business niche, and you're going to need your time zone. Right. And so if you don't have a domain yet, you might want to buy one using GoDaddy. And the reason why I say GoDaddy is because GoDaddy integrates really seamlessly through OptimizePro / Go High Level. Also, if you don't have a Stripe account, you want to get a Stripe account, I want you to know that Stripe is free. Basically, when you get charges that come through Stripe, what ends up happening is you pretty much will have to pay fees for each transaction. So the accounts are free, but you pay transaction fees. Okay, and then you're going to want to connect your domains. You want to set up your email, purchase a phone number, and you want to set up your phone number and get A2P verified. Now that all of that is a process, it's not hard, but you must set up your business properly at the beginning in order for all of this to work. And now if there are any snapshots that you want to upload, we're going to talk about what a snapshot is, and we're going to talk about how to upload it into your particular sub account, and why you would want to do that, because snapshots are pretty cool, because what they are digital assets and workflows that have already been kind of set up for you that you can add to your sub account so that you can run your business more effectively and easily. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because one of the things about OptimizePro / Go High Level is that it has its own lingo. It has its own language. And I created a video about the terminology. I'm going to link to it in this video, but you need to know what the terminology is, because this could be a new environment for you, and you're going to want to know what people are talking about when they utilize all of these different terms, when they utilize, SaaS, which is software as a service, when they utilize sub accounts, which is literally your account that you have inside of the high level / OptimizePro software. You're going to want to know even what is A2P verification, what does that mean, why do you have to do it, and even setting up your website and setting up these subdomains, what does that mean, and why you need to think about all of that stuff. It may seem foreign to you, and you may not understand all of these terms, but when you click on that video, you'll really understand what what all of those different terms mean, and how to effectively utilize them. Okay, so the basics is important, right? And why is this important? It's important because the first things that you're going to want to be able to do is to send emails and text messages and create workflows. And having everything set up properly is going to help you create your landing pages, be able to send emails, be able to send text messages. And it's so important that you're going to want to do this. And when you think about domains, think about having a subdomain for your products, having a subdomain for your membership, for emails and events, and all of that. So what a subdomain will look like is if you have a membership, so it would be membership.networkforwomeninbusiness.org. So I'm utilizing a URL that I already own, which is networkforwomeninbusiness.org, and I'm just adding a subdomain to that so that I can have all of my membership area, my login area, all of that stuff. You might want to have login.networkforwomeninbusiness.com, .org, which is what I have. So basically, think of a subdomain as the different, places that you're going to want people to go online, right? And not really having to have like networkforwomeninbusiness.org / membership. Instead, you have membership.networkforwomeninbusiness.org, or you have login.networkforwomeninbusiness.org. You may have events www.networkforwomeninbusiness.org. So, if you have your small business boot camp for women, like I do, I may have events.networkforwomeninbusiness.org, but really and truly, I already have the domain smallbusinessbootcampforwomen.com. So that's a domain that I may want to just set up in the system. And like I said before, as a business strategy, maybe I might want to create a whole sub account for that particular event instead of having it under the networkforwomeninbusiness.org. So there's so much that you can do and so much to think about. That's the reason why you want to have your basic setup and you want to have your strategy session, because your strategy is going to be key and it's going to force you to think about, okay, how do I currently make money? How do I want to make money? What do I need to do to get things set up so I can make money? And if I'm currently making money, okay, how do I do that? What is my customer journey? How can my customer journey be different? And how can I make this better so that I can scale, so that I can make more money, get more customers, more clients, and make more income? All of this is going to be important and it's a big deal. But we want to start out with the basics, and the basics is just getting the basic information set up into the system. And we're going to do that. So right now is demo time. And so what I'm going to do is create a demo video for you. But if it feels like everything is overwhelming, what I would like you to do is be able to phone a friend, which I would like to consider myself to be a friend. You can reach out to me, and basically you can reach out to me at Tony@TonyColeman-Brown.com. Send me an email. Let me know you need some help, and we'll set up some time and schedule some time to get some help. And maybe you want this to be DFY, which is done for you. And if you want someone else to set up everything for you for a small fee, I can definitely do that as well. And so let's get started with the demo to show you how to set everything up. So, on my end, I'm going to be responsible for creating a sub account. And once the sub account is created, then there's information that either you can provide to me or you can log into the system and enter it all in yourself so that you can get set up. But ideally, you'll want to give all of that information to me so I can set it up in advance so that you can have the basic information kind of set up. And then there'll be things you have to do on your own, and then there'll be things that we can do. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a sub account using Go High Level and how to get this all set up. And I am using actually OptimizePro, which is powered by Go High Level. So I'm logged into the agency side, which when you come into your account, you'll be on the agency side and you will have to have a sub account created. Basically, what you're going to want to do is come over here and click on the button that says create a sub account. Now you'll have the ability to choose between a SaaS account and a regular account. You're going to want to create a regular account, and that's because unless someone has paid more money to run this as software as a service, then you're going to want to create a regular account. And then you're going to want to choose the different snapshots that you're going to want to be imported into this account. Now, like I said before, I have a video that shows you all the different terminology that explains everything to you, but depending upon the type of business, if they have a marketing agency or a finance agency, an automotive agency, there's a multitude of different snapshot templates. As you can see, there's 66. So there's auto dealership, auto detailing, automotive repair, a bakery, travel and hospitality, a bed and breakfast, a lawyer, a bookkeeper. Most of my clients are coaches, so I usually just pick the business coaching and consultant snapshot. You want to click select. Then what's going to happen is this map is going to pop up, and if your business is local, you can enter the business name. If you have a Google My Business account and you enter the business name, it will pop up. and you'll be able to add the sub-account information based upon the business name. So for the most part, like say for instance, if I am using like hip hop, I'm gonna say hip hop burger, which is a burger joint that's in Rochdale Village. I can click that business name and I can click this business, and then I can pick this address, and I can set up the sub account for that particular business. And a lot of the business information is going to automatically be there. But I'm not using that business, so I'm going to click on add manually. Then when you click on add manually, all of the things that I told you about before, which are the business basics, is what you're going to need to create the sub account. So you're going to need their first name, their last name, their email address, their business name, the business niche, the business phone number, their address, city and state, the country, the zip code, their website, the time zone, and then you're going to click the blue button that says add sub account so that the sub account can be added and created. For this case and for these purposes, I'm going to use John Doe. Okay, once you have the sub account created, to navigate over to the sub account, you want to come over here to the left navigation bar and click on sub account, and then all of the sub accounts that you have created will be listed here. So for this purpose, I am going to go into John Doe's business, which is the sub account that I created. So basically I'm going to click this that says switch into the sub account. Once I switch into the sub account, then the first thing you'll see is the dashboard. But where we want to go is into the settings so we can finish setting this up. So this is where you want to look to make sure that you're in the proper sub account, because it'll say John Doe's business. Then you go into the settings, and once you go into the settings, then you'll see some of the other critical information that you will definitely need. You can upload your logo, which would be very important for branding. If you don't have a logo, what's really great is you get the pixel sizes that you'll need so that you can come over here and create a logo, or go to Canva and create a logo and then upload it here. Then you have your friendly business name and your legal business name. Your legal business name is important because that's going to help you get A2P certified. So basically you want to click your legal business name here, and this is going to be the business name that's associated with your EIN number. Then you're going to want to put your business email and your business phone number, and then you're going to want to put the branded domain name. You want to add that there, right? So you want to click on that domain and then click add domain, and it's going to automatically be added here. Then you're going to want to enter in your website and your business niche. You want to choose one from basically the drop down menu, and then you want to click on update business information. Then you want to come down here and click on the business type, the industry. You're going to want to find something that's closely associated. Then for the registration ID type, you want to click on the drop down and you want to make sure you put in the EIN number. And then the business registration number, you can leave that. Well, actually, you want to put here what you're going to use, which is the EIN number, and you want to put the EIN number in this field right here, okay? And then all of the different areas that you're going to be operating your business, you're going to want to click on that. So if you have an online business, you may do business in Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America. You could click on all of it. But for the most part, if you're in the United States or Canada, you want to click on that. Now, you want to scroll up here. Down here is where you're going to go and you set up all of your call and your voicemail settings. We're not going to do that. We're going to do that in a separate video. But right now you can scroll up. Then you want to make sure all of the physical address information is entered. And then you want to click on your outbound language. For most of us, that's going to be English. You want to click on the blue update button. Anytime you update any of this information, you want to make sure you click on the blue update button. And then you want to put in an authorized representative. This is going to be the person who's really going to have the administrative rights to the account. So you want to have that. Then you could click on allow duplicate opportunity, which will allow for someone to come into your pipeline. Maybe you have multiple pipelines that you're using, and people can come into your different pipelines. So pretty much you may have a pipeline for someone that is going to be a part of your membership, or you may have a pipeline for somebody that's going to be a part of your course, and a pipeline is pretty much set up for your customer journey. What is going to be the customer journey? How are they going to move through your different pipelines that you have? And you may have a different journey for your Network for Women in Business than you have for your event, your Small Business Bootcamp for Women, right? So remember when I said strategy? So think about it that way. Additionally, you may have a different customer journey for someone that's taking a course from you. So you may want to have, 3 people, or not 3 people, but one person may be going down all 3 of those pipelines. So you want to allow that, right? So you want to make sure that that button is checked off. Then you basically can come down and allow duplicate contact information. So for the most part, you can allow a person to become a contact multiple times. Say, for instance, you may have an opt-in and a customer journey for an ebook, for a free report, and you want to allow a person to be able to use their email and come into your experience online multiple times, because you have multiple different products that you are actually offering, or multiple different events that you're offering, and you want people to be able to come into your pipelines multiple times, and you want them to be able to come onto multiple lists. So basically you want to check those off to make sure. Now we're going to talk about all of this other compliance in another email, but I keep saying email. I'm sorry, guys. But we're going to talk about the call and voice settings and the SMS compliance and the mistext callback settings in a separate video. But these are the very basics. It's very, very important that you have your EIN number, you have your legal business name, and you have all of your business information set up properly. So this is very important. On the next video, we're going to talk about having your call and your voicemail settings set up the right way, because otherwise, if you don't have this set up correctly, then you won't be able to send text messages. So we're going to talk about text, and we're going to talk about emails in the next video. All right, so I hope this is clear and that you understand what you need to do to really get those first basics set up correctly. And this is it. All right, see you on the next video. Take care.